What happens when America's sweetheart walks onto one of daytime TV's most controversial stages and everything goes completely off the rails? It only took 28 seconds for Kelly Clarkson to go from beloved guest to being thrown off the view in the most shocking confrontation of the year. Make sure you subscribe to this channel for daily videos exposing Hollywood's darkest scandals. Last night's episode of The View was supposed to be a celebration. Kelly Clarkson was there to talk about her hit talk show, her new music, and her journey as a single mom in the entertainment industry. The audience was packed with fans wearing Kelly Clarkson merchandise, holding signs that said things like, "We love you, Kelly," and "Voice Legend," cheering wildly as she walked out onto the stage. The energy was electric, everyone buzzing with excitement. Kelly hugged each of the hosts warmly, smiling that megawatt smile everyone knows and loves, that smile that won America's hearts on American Idol. All those years ago. She sat down in the guest chair, looking radiant in a bright red dress, her blonde hair perfectly styled, ready for what she thought would be a fun, supportive conversation among fellow women in television. Whoopi Goldberg started things off with easy questions about Kelly's talk show and how she balances her career with raising her two kids. Kelly answered with her usual warmth and humor, telling funny stories about her children that had the audience laughing and clapping. She talked about bedtime routines and school pickups and trying to be a present parent while managing a demanding career. Joy Behar jumped in with questions about Kelly's music career and upcoming projects, asking about her latest album and what inspired the songs. Kelly opened up about writing music that reflected her experiences with divorce and rebuilding her life. Everything felt light and friendly. The other hosts were smiling and nodding along, genuinely interested in what Kelly had to say. Sarah Haynes asked about Kelly's approach to interviewing celebrities and what makes her show different from others in the crowded daytime landscape. Kelly talked passionately about creating a safe space for her guests and treating everyone with kindness and respect, regardless of their background or what controversies might surround them. She emphasized that her show was built on the foundation of connection and empathy, finding the humanity in everyone who sat across from her. But then Sunny Hostin, who had been quiet up until that point, sitting back and observing, leaned forward with a serious expression on her face. The mood shifted instantly. You could feel it in the studio, like a temperature drop. The laughter died out. Kelly's smile became a bit more guarded. The audience sensed something was about to happen. "Kelly, I want to ask you about something different," Sunny said, her voice cutting through the cheerful atmosphere like a knife. "Your show has featured some pretty controversial figures lately. People who've said and done problematic things. People who've hurt communities. And you give them this platform where they're treated with kid gloves, where everything is soft lighting and friendly questions. Don't you think you have a responsibility to hold these people accountable instead of just being nice to them? Instead of helping them whitewash their image?" Kelly's smile faltered for just a second. She shifted in her seat, clearly not expecting this turn in the conversation. "Well, Sunny, I think my show is about connection and finding common ground with everyone who comes on. I believe everyone deserves to be heard and treated with dignity, even if we disagree with them on certain issues. That's kind of my whole philosophy. I think that's what's missing in media today, that ability to sit down with someone and just listen without judgment. But dignity for who?" Sunny pressed, her voice getting sharper, her expression intense. "What about dignity for the people they've hurt? When you platform someone who's spread dangerous misinformation or made racist comments or supported harmful policies that affect real people's lives, and you just laugh and joke with them like they're your best friend, like nothing they've done matters, aren't you telling their victims that their pain doesn't matter? That their suffering is less important than making your guest feel comfortable?" The audience got quiet. You could hear people shifting in their seats. Kelly's face flushed slightly, a red creeping up her neck. "I don't think having a conversation with someone means I agree with everything they've ever said or done in their entire life. I think we need more dialogue in this country, not less. We need to talk to people we disagree with, not just shut them out and refuse to engage. How else are we supposed to understand each other?" "Dialogue is one thing," Sunny shot back. not missing a beat. But you're not challenging them. You're not pushing back. You're not asking the hard questions that need to be asked. You're just giving them a free pass to rehab their image on national television. While actual journalists, people who take their responsibility seriously, are trying to hold them accountable for real harm they've caused to real communities. Kelly sat up straighter, her hands gripping the armrests of the chair, her knuckles turning white. I'm not a journalist, Sonny. I've never claimed to be one. I'm an entertainer who hosts a talk show where I connect with people. I ask questions that my audience wants to hear answered. I create a space where people can be human and vulnerable and real, not where they have to be perfect or defend themselves constantly. Being human includes being held accountable, Sonny said, not backing down at all, her voice getting louder. And when you treat people who've done terrible things, who've hurt marginalized communities, like they're just misunderstood or having a bad day, you're being complicit in letting them off the hook. You're using your massive platform, your influence with millions of viewers, to help them escape the consequences of their actions. The other hosts were looking between Kelly and Sonny, clearly uncomfortable with how tense this was getting. The air in the studio felt thick. Whoopi tried to jump in, holding up her hands. Okay, let's maybe take a step back here and... But Kelly cut her off, her voice sharp. Complicit? Are you seriously accusing me of being complicit in harm because I choose to approach people with kindness instead of hostility? Because I don't believe in tearing people down on television for entertainment? Because I think there's value in showing grace? I'm saying you have a responsibility that you're not taking seriously. Sonny replied, her voice firm and unwavering, her lawyer training coming through. You have millions of viewers. Young women look up to you. Children watch your show. And when you normalize people who spread hate or dangerous misinformation by treating them like they're just regular guests, like what they've done doesn't matter, you're sending a message that their actions don't have real consequences, that words don't matter. That harm can be erased with a smile and a laugh. Kelly's face was getting redder, her breathing getting faster. And who made you the arbiter of who deserves kindness and who doesn't? Who gave you the authority to decide that some people are beyond redemption and shouldn't be treated with basic human decency? Who put you in charge of judging everyone? This isn't about redemption, Sonny said, leaning even further forward in her chair, her hands flat on the table. This is about accountability, and you seem allergic to it. Every single time someone controversial comes on your show, you softball them. You let them tell their side of the story without any pushback, without any challenge, without any questions that might make them uncomfortable. That's not kindness. That's cowardice. That's taking the easy way out, the audience gasped. Some people looked shocked. Others looked like they agreed with Sonny. Kelly's jaw dropped. Cowardice? You're calling me a coward? I'm calling your approach cowardly, Sonny clarified. But her tone made it clear the distinction didn't matter much. You hide behind this persona of being nice and sweet, but what you're really doing is avoiding the uncomfortable conversations that actually matter. You're taking the easy way out. Kelly stood up suddenly, her microphone nearly falling off her dress. The easy way out? Do you have any idea how hard it is to build something positive in this industry? To create a show that doesn't thrive on conflict and drama and tearing people apart? I work my ass off every single day to make something that brings people joy instead of more division. Sonny stood up too, matching Kelly's energy. Joy at whose expense, Kelly? That's the question. You're refusing to answer. Your joy, your positive vibes, your feel-good content, it all comes at the expense of the people who are being hurt by the guests you're platforming. I am not responsible for every single thing every guest has ever done in their entire lives, Kelly said, her voice getting louder, starting to shake with emotion. I interview hundreds of people a year, politicians, actors, musicians, authors, activists, regular people with interesting stories. Am I supposed to do a full background check and moral evaluation on each and every one of them? Am I supposed to only talk to perfect people who've never made a mistake or said something wrong? Because if that's the standard, then nobody would ever be on any talk show ever. There's a difference between making a mistake and causing real, lasting harm to vulnerable communities, Sunny countered, her voice cutting. And you know it. You're being deliberately obtuse right now because you don't want to admit that your show prioritizes your comfort and your brand over truth and accountability. You care more about being liked than being responsible. My show prioritizes humanity, Kelly shot back, her voice cracking. Something you might want to try sometime instead of sitting here on your high horse judging everyone who doesn't meet your impossible standards. Instead of attacking people for trying to do something positive in the world, the other hosts were trying desperately to get a word in. But Kelly and Sunny were fully locked into this confrontation now. Whoopi was saying something about taking a commercial break. Joy was trying to interject with a joke to lighten the mood. Sarah was looking at the producers off camera. But neither Kelly nor Sunny was paying attention to anyone else in the room. Impossible standards? Sunny's voice went up. Asking you to challenge people who spread dangerous lies is an impossible standard? Asking you to use your platform responsibly is too much? You want to talk about using platforms responsibly? Kelly asked, her voice shaking with anger now, her hands trembling. You sit here every single day on this show and attack people. You call them names. You question their intelligence and their morals and their integrity. You tear them apart for your audience's entertainment. And you act like you're some kind of hero for it, like you're doing God's work. At least I treat people with respect. At least I recognize that everyone I talk to is a human being with feelings and dignity. I attack people who deserve to be attacked, Sunny said, her eyes blazing with intensity. I hold powerful people accountable for their actions and their words. That's my job. That's what journalism is supposed to be. But you just want everyone to like you. You want to be America's sweetheart so badly. You want to protect that brand you've built, that you'll compromise your integrity, you'll compromise your values, to make sure nobody ever gets upset with you. You'll give anyone a platform as long as they smile for the camera. My integrity? Kelly's voice was nearly shouting now. Several audience members jumped in their seats, looking genuinely scared. Don't you dare question my integrity. I have built my entire career, from American Idol to now, on being honest and authentic and real. I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I don't hide behind fancy words and legal jargon. Unlike some people who use their law degree as a weapon to bully people on television and call it activism. Bully people? Sunny looked absolutely incredulous, her mouth falling open. I'm a bully for asking tough questions? For expecting celebrities with massive platforms and millions of followers to be held to some kind of standard? That's rich coming from someone who's made a fortune being everyone's best friend. Coming from someone who's built an empire on never making anyone uncomfortable. At least, I don't make my living tearing other women down, Kelly said, and her voice was ice cold now, cutting through the studio. At least I don't sit behind a table and attack people while pretending it's journalism or activism or whatever you want to call it. You're not a journalist, Sunny. You're a talk show host just like me. The only difference is you get off on making people uncomfortable. You enjoy it. You love the conflict. The studio was dead silent except for their voices echoing off the walls. The audience didn't know whether to clap or gasp or leave. Some people were recording everything on their phones. Others sat frozen, unable to look away. The other hosts had given up trying to intervene, realizing this confrontation was beyond their control. This was happening, and there was no stopping it now. I make people uncomfortable because the truth is uncomfortable, Sunny said, not backing down even a little bit. I make people uncomfortable because there are things that need to be said, questions that need to be asked. And I'm not afraid to be the one who says them, even if it means I'm not invited to all the cool parties or getting sent free stuff from celebrities who want me to be nice to them. Oh, so now I'm shallow too? Kelly asked, her hands shaking. Is that what you're implying? That I can be bought with free stuff and party invitations? You don't know a damn thing about me, Sunny. You don't know what I stand for or what I believe in. I know what I see on your show, Sunny replied. And what I see is someone who's so desperate to be liked that she'll give a platform to anyone, no matter how much damage they've done, as long as they'll sit across from her and pretend to be friends for an hour. You know what? Kelly said, reaching down and unclipping her microphone with shaking hands. Her hands were trembling so badly she could barely get the clip undone. I don't need this. I don't need to sit here and be insulted and attacked by someone who thinks she's better than everyone else, because she asks mean questions and calls it journalism, because she thinks cruelty is the same thing as truth. Whoopi finally managed to get a word in, standing up from her seat. Kelly, wait, let's just take a breath here. Let's all calm down for a second. But Kelly wasn't listening. She dropped her microphone on the chair with a loud thud that echoed through the studio, the sound making everyone jump. I came here thinking I was going to have a nice conversation with fellow women in the industry, women I respected, women I thought would understand what it's like to navigate this business. Instead, I got ambushed by someone who wanted to make herself look good by tearing me down. Well, congratulations, Sunny. You got your moment. You got your viral clip. Hope it was worth it. This isn't about me looking good or getting a viral moment, Sunny said, still standing, still not backing down even an inch. This is about you being unable to handle criticism. This is about you running away the second someone challenges you on your choices, the second someone asks you to think critically about what you're doing. I'm not running away from anything, Kelly said, grabbing her purse from beside the chair, her movements jerky and angry. I'm choosing not to participate in whatever this is. I'm choosing not to let you use me as your punching bag to score points with your audience, to show how woke you are. That's called self-respect. That's called knowing when you're in a situation that's not healthy. No, self-respect would be owning your choices, Sunny shot back. Self-respect would be being able to defend your decisions instead of playing the victim and storming off when things get real. Kelly turned to face Sunny directly, stepping closer to her, her eyes blazing with fury. Playing the victim? I'm not the one who attacked a guest on live television for no reason. I'm not the one who turned what was supposed to be a friendly appearance into an interrogation. I'm not the one who decided to make this personal and nasty. You did that, Sunny. This is all you. You made this choice. I asked you legitimate questions about your show and your choices and your responsibility, Sunny said, crossing her arms, standing her ground. If you can't handle that, if you can't defend your own decisions without falling apart, then maybe you should think about why that is. Maybe you should examine why being asked to think critically makes you so defensive. Maybe you should think about why you feel the need to attack everyone who doesn't do things exactly the way you think they should be. Done, Kelly countered, her voice breaking slightly. Maybe you should think about why you can't let people just exist, just live their lives, without tearing them down, without picking them apart, without trying to make them feel small. Joy tried to intervene again, her voice almost pleading. Ladies, I think we all need to just step back and take a breath. We're all friends here. We're all on the same side. No, Kelly said sharply, holding up her hand to stop Joy. We're not. I'm not going to stand here and be lectured about integrity and responsibility by someone who makes her living starting fights on television, by someone who gets paid to be controversial and confrontational. I'm not going to let this continue. I'm not going to give her what she wants. Sunny took a step toward her, her expression hard. Then leave. Walk away. Show everyone watching exactly what you do when you're challenged. Show them that all that talk about dialogue and connection and understanding only applies when people are agreeing with you. When they're telling you how great you are. You didn't challenge me, Kelly said, her voice shaking with a mix of anger and hurt. You attacked me. There's a difference. A big difference. And I'm smart enough to know when I'm in a no-win situation. You've already decided I'm the villain here, so nothing I say is going to change your mind. Nothing I do will be good enough. I decided you were the villain? Sunny asked, her voice rising even higher. You made choices with your platform. You chose who to interview and how to interview them. I'm just asking you to own those choices. That's not making you a villain. That's asking you to be accountable for your own actions. For what? Kelly demanded, her voice raw with emotion. For having a different approach than you? For believing that kindness matters in a world full of cruelty? For thinking that people deserve second chances? For wanting to see the good in people instead of assuming the worst? Those aren't crimes, Sonny. Those are values. And just because they're not your values doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make me a bad person. They're wrong when they protect people who cause harm, Sonny said, her voice hard and unforgiving. They're wrong when they prioritize comfort over truth. They're wrong when they let dangerous people off the hook because you're too concerned with being nice, because you're too worried about your image. Kelly shook her head, tears of frustration starting to form in her eyes, her voice breaking. I can't do this anymore. I can't sit here and defend my belief that people deserve to be treated with dignity. If that makes me a bad person in your eyes, if that makes me complicit or cowardly or whatever other words you want to throw at me, then I guess that's what I am. But I'm not going to change who I am to make you happy. I'm not going to become cruel to prove I'm moral. She turned toward the exit at the side of the stage, her heels clicking on the floor. The cameras followed her movement. The audience was completely silent, shocked by what they were witnessing. Some people had their hands over their mouths, others were recording on their phones. Whoopi called out, her voice desperate. Kelly, please, let's just talk about this. Let's take a break and talk. But Kelly kept walking, her stride determined, despite the tears threatening to spill. Sonny called after her, her voice echoing through the studio. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You can't handle being held accountable, so you run. You run away from anything that challenges you. Kelly stopped and turned back one final time, her face red, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I'm not running. I'm choosing not to engage with someone who has no interest in an actual conversation. Someone who just wants to win an argument and humiliate me on television. You wanted to make a point, and you made it. Congratulations. I hope it was everything you wanted. I hope you feel good about yourself. What I wanted was honesty, Sonny said, her voice not wavering at all. What I wanted was for you to actually think about the impact of your choices, to think about the real-world consequences of platforming certain people without pushback. But clearly, that's too much to ask. Clearly, asking you to be thoughtful about your influence is somehow an attack. No, what you wanted was to feel superior, Kelly said, her voice breaking slightly, a tear finally rolling down her cheek. What you wanted was to show everyone how much smarter and more woke and more righteous you are than the dumb country girl from Texas who just wants to be nice to people, who just wants to make people smile. Well, you did it. You tore me down in front of millions of people. You win. I hope it makes you feel powerful. This isn't about power or winning, Sonny said, but her voice had an edge of frustration now. This is about responsibility. This is about using your platform with intention and care. But you don't want to hear that. You just want to play the victim and make this about me being mean to you. You are being mean to me, Kelly said, her voice small now, the fight draining out of her. You ambushed me. You attacked my character. You questioned my integrity and my values in front of everyone. And now you're acting like I'm the unreasonable one for being upset about it. Like I'm wrong for having feelings about being publicly humiliated. And with that, Kelly Clarkson turned her back on the View's stage one final time and walked through the exit. Her heels clicked on the floor with each determined step as she disappeared into the hallway backstage, her shoulders shaking slightly. The camera stayed on Sonny, who stood there with her arms still crossed, her expression unreadable, a mix of anger and something else, maybe regret, flickering across her face. The other hosts looked at each other, uncertain what to do or say, and then came the sound that everyone would remember, that would play in every news clip and social media post about this moment, the heavy backstage door slamming shut with such force that it echoed through the entire studio, rattling equipment, leaving nothing but shocked silence and the stunned faces of the remaining hosts and an audience that couldn't believe what they just witnessed unfold in real time on live television.